I'm not going to force myself to keep doing something that's making me unhappy and stressing me out and causing me to become sick. Like, no. And burnt out. I hate when people do that. Like, you ask them for advice or you're just trying to vent. Say how you feeling unhappy where you're at, and then they tell you to stick through with it. If someone tells me they're unhappy doing something, I'm gonna tell them to leave. Like, why are you still doing that? I'm not gonna say, oh well, such is life, you gotta push it through. No, like that's the worst advice you could tell somebody. And I think that's because people are so stuck in survival mode and they're so scared to, branch off and do something different because you don't really know what's gonna happen when you quit your job or you do anything differently. But I won't be ruled by fear anymore. I just can't. Hi YouTube, it's Sage here with a long procrastinated video. I've been supposed to record this video, but I've been putting it off. And I just haven't really had the energy to do anything, honestly. And that's what I'm gonna talk about today. I was gonna write all of the stuff down that I wanted to talk about, but I'm just gonna record right now because I feel like if I don't do it now, that I'm not gonna do it. So right now I'm in a parking lot at my school for a tutoring session. They said it's for my biology class, and they said it's from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. But apparently he's not available right now and I have to wait until 1 p.m. So I decided to come back in the car and record this video. So I just want to talk about how I've been feeling lately, because I know I'm not the only one that's been feeling this way. And I just got off the phone with my sister who's in college, like 300 miles away. And she's been feeling the same way. So I'm going to talk about that right now. So I'm going to start from the beginning. So basically I applied for spring classes right after my fall semester ended. And I was so excited for it. So I'm taking 3 classes. I'm taking Spanish because I had to take a diversity course for my major. And I'm taking biology and math, which is it's really intermediate algebra. And I was so excited to start the spring semester. I had so many goals. I had my schedule planned out, what I'm going to do in my assignments and just everything. I was so excited. The job that I had been working at for 2 years, it was a small business, Route 1 Apparel. I love Route 1 Apparel. That was honestly the best job ever. I started working at the job when I was 17, I believe. It was in 2022. I started working there, December 2022. Best job ever, y'all. I'm close with all of my co-workers. It's a really flexible job. It helped me a lot with school when I had to stay after school, or if I had out of the blue tutoring sessions I needed to go to. It was completely fine. But it merged with another company, and I'm just so sad because, well, first my job was 3 minutes away from my house, a 3-minute drive without traffic. When it was school traffic, it would be 5 minutes, because my high school is right up the street from my job. But now it's 20 minutes away. I had to get on the highway and take 10 exits. I mean, it's not that bad of a job. I got used to it, but it's still inconvenience, because it was right up the street from my house. And the environment is so different from my old workplace, our old warehouse. Because we did fulfillment because it's an online store. So we would just pull the items and we would pack them up and send them out. And we would have these little events, and we had these sales. So we'll put stuff up outside. Like, there's so much like fun stuff that, you know, I actually enjoy looking back on it. But yeah, now it's like this completely different environment. The warehouse that is at now that we merged with is like so much bigger, so many more employees, and the people that I met there are really kind. But it's still just like not that same environment. We did have a choice like to not go along with the merge, but we were guaranteed jobs. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go. And we kind of was told like last minute, so it would have been kind of hard to find a job so quickly, at least one that, you know, when I look for a job, I try to find a job that fits with my personality and also something that I have interest in, so I can at least not completely dread going to work every day. Because that's just miserable. So I decided to stick through with it. And I think like the stress of that changed my job, because I expected to stay there until I graduated college. Like, I feel like blindsided about all of that. And then the stress of school, my schoolwork started picking up. And if you take biology, like, you know how much, it's just so much information in biology. And then I'm not that great at studying, which is why I'm here at the tutoring, to get tutored. Because I don't know how to study, and I have a practical coming up, and I'm like completely lost. Like, I know if I was going to take the test today, I wouldn't even know where, I wouldn't even know. I would fail. So I'm here for help. So it's just the stress of all of that, school, and now I'm working at this place that I don't really like. Yeah, I had to get used to this commute. It was just a lot. And then I got sick. And I think the stress also caused me to get sick. I had horrible headaches. I lost my voice. I lost my sense of smell, taste. Like, it was bad. And it usually, like, when I'm sick, it's only like, I would say 3 days max, and I start feeling better. I was sick for almost 2 weeks. Like, I just started feeling like completely better, like probably 2 days ago. So I made the decision to leave my job. I was just getting stressed out with schoolwork and everything, and I always said, like, never leave a job unless you find another one first. But in this situation, I had to, the way I was feeling, I had to give something up, and I can't give school up, so I gave my job up. I just needed like a breather. You know, they did say, because even at Route 1 Apparel, when I did leave, because I did leave like temporarily at that job, like only for, I think it was like a month, because of school. They said I could come in whenever, you know, I have free time. And it's the same at the merging place, at the new place. They said, you know, I always have a home with them and I can come in, you know, whenever I can. So I still basically, like, I technically still have a job, but right now I'm taking a step back from it. The way I've been feeling lately, like when I feel myself starting to get really stressed out and overwhelmed and just having no drive, motivation, like literally like the past 2 weeks, I've been feeling so burnt out. Like, I've mostly just been like on my phone and in bed lately. Like, I've still been doing what I need to do with school, but other than that, everything feels like a drag. Like, like I'm just not enjoying anything lately, like at all. Like, I just feel like there's not like a lot of excitement anymore. And the only time I do feel excitement is when I think about my YouTube channel, or when I think about like modeling, or like just other stuff that I actually like truly have a passion for. Because even with the school thing, I do have a passion for what I'm going to school for, but at the same time, it's not my dream. It's not something I actually really want to do. It's the safe option, you know, something that's more set in stone and more attainable. Because, you know, you go into school, you do your schoolwork, graduate, get a job. It's pretty straightforward. But with like YouTube and stuff like, and all that, it's like unpredictable. But I'm tired of playing it safe. I'm tired of like settling, basically. That's honestly what I'm doing. I'm not dropping out of school, absolutely not. But in a way, I do feel like sometimes I am settling, and I'm in my own way, because I feel like a part of me is afraid of success as much as I'm afraid of failure. And I do feel like I'm a perfectionist, so sometimes I feel like I hold off on doing things because it doesn't feel like the right time, or I feel like I'm not in the right mindset, or I'm not the person I truly want to be, so I can't do certain things. And I feel like I know that if I do assert myself and apply myself with like my YouTube channel and just putting myself out there with things I truly want to do, and you know, maybe like other things in my life, like working out or being more consistent with my language learning, all this, I feel like I know I would succeed in it. And I think that's kind of scary too, because with success also comes more responsibilities. And yeah, I think I'm afraid of that too. Maybe I feel like since I can't keep certain promises to myself now, that like I wouldn't be able to if I became like who I truly am. I don't know how to really put it into words, but that's really how I've been feeling lately. And I'm trying to take it day by day and make some changes within myself, my mindset, and other areas in my life. I think that's also why I left my job too. I felt like it was time for something better. And honestly, I knew if I didn't leave and take a step back, then nothing would really change, and I would still kind of feel like I'm stuck in this pattern. Because sometimes we always just, you know, you try to push through, like, oh, this life, like, I don't feel like doing this and I don't want to do that, but such is life, like, you just have to push through and do it. No, I hate when people say that. Like, I hate when I tell people how I'm feeling and they say, well, that's life. You know, I don't feel like waking up and doing this, but, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. No, I'm not being miserable and settling because that's life. And I'm afraid of change, basically. I feel like people like that are, like, stuck in survival mode. Like, no. Stop. Like, you can't be afraid to quit your job or say no to some things. Like, you'll be fine. You shouldn't always feel like you have to push through and, like, struggle, be in the survival mode. Like, no, sometimes you need to stop and take a step back and just slow down. I'm tired of always pushing through or feeling like I have to do things. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to stay at that job because what? That's like the right thing to do. I'm in college. I have responsibilities. I need to have a job. Yes, but like, no. At the same time, I'm not going to force myself to keep doing something that's making me unhappy and stressing me out and causing me to become sick. Like, no. And burnt out. I hate when people do that. Like, you ask them for advice or you're just trying to vent. Say how you feeling unhappy where you're at, and then they tell you to stick through with it. If someone tells me they're unhappy doing something, I'm going to tell them to leave. Like, why are you still doing that? I'm not going to say, oh, well, such is life, you got to push it through. No. Like, that's the worst advice you could tell somebody. And I think that's because people are so stuck in survival mode and they're so scared to, you know, branch off and do something different because you don't really know what's going to happen when you quit your job or you do anything differently. But I won't be ruled by fear anymore. I just can't. I can't. And I think that's why I have sometimes kept stuff to myself, especially with telling certain family members, because that's usually what they say. Like, well, the such is life. And I understand sometimes you might have to do the hard thing for a while until something better comes along. I understand that. I'm not a doofus. Because some people take my optimism and my positive mindset, all of that, as like, I don't think logically or I think emotionally, or I don't take things serious. No, I see the bad things that could happen. I think logically. Most of the time, the first thing that comes to mind is what could go wrong, or like the logical thing or whatever. But I'm not going to put that out in the universe just because, you know, that's something that I see. I choose to see it in a different perspective. Because if I see things all the time logically, like, oh, well, this is how it is, this is how it's going to be forever, I will be miserable. I need to see things from a different perspective. I need to tell myself that everything's going to be okay and it's temporary, or I need to be able to think of the less realistic, because I don't think anything is unrealistic. I feel like if you can think about it and imagine it, see yourself doing it, you can do it. I don't think that's unrealistic, but to most people it's an unrealistic thing. I honestly lost what I was just about to say. But that's basically how I've been feeling lately, and I've been feeling so many different emotions, like anger, sadness, confusion, like feeling lost, like so many different things. And I'm like, something has to change. I can't keep just moving forward and just only focusing on like school or the more attainable thing. Like, no, I have dreams. I want to be successful with YouTube. I want to act. I want to model. Like, there's so many things I want to do. I'm not just going to settle because those things seem a little bit more like out of reach or whatever. And that's not the thing at all. I just haven't been asserting myself. I've been settling. I'm going to be honest with myself. I have, and I haven't been doing more than I know that I can do. I've been making myself like small, basically. And I don't want to be like 30 years old and I'm looking back and I didn't do YouTube and I didn't, you know, apply myself in other areas of my life where I want to be, you know, and things I want to achieve. And I'm just working. I have the career that I went to school for, and I'm miserable because, yeah, it's something I want to do, but it's not something that I'm truly passionate about. Ever since I was in elementary school, I always wanted to act. I always wanted to be in the spotlight. I always wanted to be a YouTuber. Like, I remember when Musical.ly was around. I was in elementary school. I would post like 20 videos a day, probably more. I wanted that crown. Like, I was gonna be famous. Like, I was so determined back then, and I applied myself so much for the goals that I wanted. And I had thousands of followers on Musical.ly. So why can't I do that now? Back then, younger me was not afraid. I didn't care what people thought of me. I always posted. And I said this on one of my TikToks, like, think about what younger you would do. But yeah, it's just lately I've been feeling a little bit unfulfilled, I guess. And even with making YouTube videos, like, I just haven't been having the energy for anything. I haven't been wanting to do anything. Like, and if you really know me, like, you know, I love to dress up. This past like 2 months, I have not been dressing up at all. Maybe it's because it's cold and I just don't even want to deal with that. I would still be wearing tights and heels and dresses and skirts. Like, I did not care. I think it's just my energy has been a little off lately, but I'm working on getting back into my groove and even better. So that's what this video is like the beginning of. It's the beginning of like my getting my life together series, or like a rebranding series. But it is 1 o'clock now, so I'm gonna go into school. Thank you for watching and listening to my rant. And if you can relate to this, I'm sorry. I know how it is, but it'll get better. Just gotta take one day at a time and break your goals up into smaller increments and, you know, do something every day. It'll get better. But that's all. Bye.